Many Americans say they choose to vote for a candidate simply to keep the other out of office. People need to educate themselves and vote in accordance with their beliefs, not their emotions. 2020 is a year like no other as the country fights a pandemic, mail in ballots become the norm, and two vastly opposed candidates are locked in the presidential race. Voters face an interesting decision: vote for a candidate because they support them and their platform, or because they are trying to keep the other out of office. In a poll conducted on Instagram, 40% of the 250 participants voted that they vote this presidential election to keep another out of office. BYU political science professor and author Jeremy Pope shared his opinion on the issue.
That candidates do activate people on the other side of the spectrum. And I think the other reason that it's big is that every time we vote on an incumbent, it is in some sense a referendum.
In this polarized and inflammatory political atmosphere, Pope says it is more important than ever that voters conduct research to decide with which candidate and party their views best align.
I would recommend that people pay attention to the world around them for the previous 4 years. Then read their speeches, read things they say that are unfiltered, right, from the press. Don't just go by what's said on Twitter. That's not a particularly good indication of who people are.
Scott Anderson adds to Pope's thoughts, saying that we should focus less on what candidates say.
So I put more emphasis now on what people have done. I think that's the best indicator of what they will continue to do.
According to BYU student Kelsey Iyer, once you have this information, the next step is to do some soul searching and understanding what you prioritize as a voter. How can we avoid feeding a political system full of hatred, anger, and a desperate need to keep another party and candidate out of office?
I feel like I should be looking for ways to be inquisitive. I should be looking for ways to ask, like, why do you think this? And without being attacking, without being skeptical, of just being like, so where does this come from? And like, what does this person have to offer?
As we listen and learn from each other, Scott says we should be cautious of declaring absolutes.
Absolute statements are pretty dangerous because it's hard to verify if they're true, and it limits reasoning. When you think things are so absolute, you think, oh, you don't need to think about them, but you really do. There's subtleties to all of these things. So many factors at play.
Research, analyze, and empathize this election season.